Imagine it's November 2026. The election results are announced, but neither side accepts the outcome. Riots erupt in 50 cities simultaneously, turning American streets into war zones. The president declares martial law, but half the military refuses to follow orders. The United States is no longer united. The Second Civil War has begun for years. The political divide has been widening, pulling the country apart. But in this scenario, the tension finally snaps. The world superpower. States start forming their own alliances, closing borders to their neighbors with tanks and walls. How does the military split? Who controls the nuclear codes? And who actually survives? Let's simulate the collapse of America day by day. The collapse begins not with a nuclear explosion, but with a constitutional deadlock. That deadlock shatters the nation's soul, breaking trust in institutions and leadership. It is January 20th, 2027, a date that permanently changes American history. For the first time in history, two rival presidents claim power simultaneously. One president stands inside a heavily secured Washington, D.C. inauguration ceremony. The other leads a defiant but peaceful inauguration ceremony in Texas. The Supreme Court issues emergency rulings attempting to restore constitutional order. Those rulings are ignored by rebelling states, eroding the rule of law. Without a unified chain of command, the federal bureaucracy begins to freeze. Federal agencies lose direction as leadership confusion spreads nationwide. FBI agents and Border Patrol officers leave their posts to protect families. Loyalty shifts from government service to personal survival and family safety. In suburban neighborhoods, political symbols suddenly become sources of tension. Public unrest moves from organized protests into deeply divided local communities. Civilians quietly check voter records, fearful of who lives next door. The economic shockwave strikes instantly, spreading panic across financial markets. Automated trading systems detect instability and trigger massive market sell-offs. Trillions in retirement savings disappear within hours, shocking everyday citizens. The dollar rapidly loses value, shaking global confidence in American currency. The Federal Reserve freezes digital assets to prevent widespread bank collapse. Credit cards stop working, leaving consumers unable to access their money. Cash briefly regains importance but quickly loses power through inflation. The just-in-time supply chain collapses, disrupting everyday American life. Supermarkets empty within 48 hours as supplies fail to arrive. Pharmacies run out of medicine, turning routine illnesses into serious threats. The Union's final fracture begins quietly inside military bases nationwide. Federal leadership orders the 1st Cavalry Division to disarm Texas forces. Military commanders refuse, choosing restraint over confrontation. This refusal sparks widespread disobedience across the armed forces. Soldiers face impossible choices between constitutional duty and home state loyalty. Military equipment falls under local control as national unity dissolves. Pacific states seal borders, forming a coordinated Western political alliance. Southern states consolidate power, creating a separate regional coalition. By the 30th day, the United States ceases to function as one nation. The country fragments into rival factions separated by borders and checkpoints. The conflict escalates rapidly, transforming scattered clashes into full-scale mechanized warfare. This war has no clear front lines, no simple north or south divisions. Resistance enclaves appear deep behind enemy-controlled territory. The federal remnant in the northeast attempts to dominate the skies. Air superiority is seen as the fastest path to ending rebellion, but America's own advanced air defenses now block the skies. Former allies now control powerful missile systems across multiple states. Pilots face fire from weapons once operated by their own comrades. The air war collapses, pushing combat back onto the ground. The Mississippi River becomes the new dividing line of America. Bridges across the river are destroyed to halt advancing forces. The war shifts toward siege tactics rather than open confrontation. Rural coalitions control food supplies and critical fuel reserves. Coastal alliances dominate ports, technology centers, and financial hubs. The war becomes starvation versus endurance. Power grids are weaponized against major American cities. Water systems are remotely disabled, deepening the civilian crisis. Electricity proves more powerful than artillery artillery in modern warfare. Millions are trapped inside powerless urban high-rises. The humanitarian crisis surpasses anything seen in modern history. In the West, the Pacific Union fights for vital resources. Control of the Colorado River becomes strategically essential. Hoover Dam turns into a dangerous strategic flashpoint. Cities like Las Vegas and Phoenix begin to shut down. America's technological backbone collapses from internal sabotage. The systems that built a superpower now accelerate its fall. The nation is dragged toward a darker, more primitive era. Modern civilization retreats as instability spreads nationwide. America fractures not from invasion, but from within. A superpower dismantles itself, piece by piece. With America collapsing, the global order evaporates almost overnight. A massive power vacuum pulls rival superpowers into chaos. In Europe, the nightmare scenario finally unfolds. Without US logistics, NATO becomes effectively paralyzed. Russia senses the opportunity of a lifetime. A lightning offensive slams into the Baltics and Eastern Europe. European capitals desperately plead for American support, but Washington is silent. No help is coming. Europe mobilizes alone, with fragmented and exhausted armies. Without American stockpiles, defenses crumble rapidly. In the Pacific, the balance of power shifts permanently. China moves fast, exploiting the southern vacuum. The US 7th Fleet withdraws to defend the homeland. The Taiwan Strait is left completely exposed. Taiwan realizes no rescue will arrive. Beijing's ambitions expand far beyond the region. Chinese warships appear near California's coastline. They claim stability. Americans see occupation. The United Nations attempts emergency intervention. Peacekeeping forces deploy into American cities. For the first time, foreign troops patrol US soil. Aid replaces wealth in once rich neighborhoods. But the world fears something far worse. Nuclear arsenals scatter across divided states. Intelligence agencies scramble to track the unthinkable. Non-state actors begin chasing ultimate power. America's collapse triggers global nuclear instability. This is no longer a civil war. It is a countdown toward worldwide anarchy. When a superpower falls, the entire planet trembles. The fighting slowly fades, not through peace, but through total exhaustion. Ammunition runs dry, and people no longer have the strength to fight. 5 years later, the continent emerges unrecognizable and deeply scarred. The United States exists only in history books, no longer a living nation. In its place, 3 smaller nations struggle to survive. The Pacific Union becomes economically dependent on China. The Southern Coalition isolates itself under permanent martial control. The Northeast turns into a monitored buffer zone. Peacekeepers patrol with sympathy, not authority. The human cost becomes impossible to measure. Millions die from famine, disease, and collapsed infrastructure. Once great cities stand half empty and stripped of life. Skyscrapers are dismantled for scrap, survival replacing ambition. The dollar disappears, replaced by barter and foreign currencies. Living standards fall back nearly a century. The internet fractures into isolated, censored networks. Survivors lose connection to the outside world. The deepest damage is psychological, not physical. Children grow up fearing neighbors, not trusting them. This collapse becomes a warning, not a prediction. Empires rarely fall from invasion, they decay internally. Polarization, distrust, and division fuel the collapse. History shows even Rome fell when it turned inward. The system seems strong, but cracks grow wider daily. The collapse is not fantasy, it is a warning. Is America beyond repair, or can the divide still heal?